It is August 9, 1965. This is Lee Kuan Yew. He has just learned that Singapore, his territory, has been kicked out of Malaysia. Now he must deliver the news to his citizens, live on national television. But he cannot continue. His voice cracks. He stops. He cries. Why did this happen? Because Kuala Lumpur, capital of the Malay-majority Malaysia, is afraid of Singapore. Afraid because it's a Chinese-majority island. Afraid because one day, its port might shine brighter than its own. So, Malaysia expels Singapore out of convenience. For Lee, this is devastation. Half of Singapore's water comes from Malaysia. 90% of its food is imported across the causeway. Without Malaysia, Singapore is finished. A speck of land with no farmland, no oil, no minerals, no industry. At this time, Singapore is just a slum-ridden, overcrowded port. 75% of families live in shacks or squatter huts, without toilets or running water. Families cook over charcoal, share filthy standpipes, and queue for public toilets. More than half the population cannot read. Ethnic riots between Malays and Chinese erupt in the streets, leaving bodies in the gutters. This is the country Lee must lead, a country that looks less like a nation and more like a failed state waiting to collapse. And yet, unbeknownst to him, these tears are not the end. They are the beginning of one of the greatest comebacks in history.
10 years from now, this will be a metropolis. Never fear.
Because the man crying on television that day refused to surrender. From this insignificant port, Lee Kuan Yew will begin to fight corruption. We analyze the most pivotal moments in leaders in modern history. This story isn't just about economic policy. It's about a radical experiment in governance, a blend of fierce pragmatism and unapologetic authoritarianism that flies in the face of conventional Western political thought. We're going to break down the 4 pillars of Lee Kuan Yew's transformation. The ruthless pursuit of clean governance, the cultivation of human capital, the strategic embrace of globalism, the imposition of order and discipline. This is the man who believed he needed to be feared to succeed. Let's find out why.
Lee Kuan Yew's journey began with what he called his moment of anguish, the forced separation from Malaysia in 1965. He wept on live television. Singapore was tiny, vulnerable, and cut off. Its very survival was uncertain. The challenge? No military, no resources, a mixed, often fractious population of Chinese, Malays, and Indians, and rampant corruption left over from colonial times. The pragmatist solution? He had to create a state attractive to the world, a first-world oasis in a third-world region. His first and most crucial move? The war on corruption.
Lee believed corruption was a cancer that would doom a resourceless state. His solution was twofold and brutally effective. The carrot. He decided Singapore's top civil servants and ministers would be paid salaries competitive with the private sector, making them among the highest-paid government officials in the world. The logic? Pay a market wage for top talent and remove the financial temptation to take a bribe. The stick. He granted the CPIB almost unlimited power to investigate anyone, including his own family and political allies. Penalties were severe, public, and swift. No one was above the law. This created an institutional trust that is the bedrock of Singapore's financial success. Foreign investors don't just see low taxes, they see predictability and reliability.
Without oil, minerals, or land, Lee declared that Singapore's people would be its only resource. He engineered society to maximize this resource. Education. A relentless focus on meritocracy was implemented. Education was streamlined and geared toward a skills-based global economy. The government invested heavily, ensuring every citizen had the tools to compete globally. Housing. He solved the slum crisis with the Housing Development Board, or HDB. This wasn't just about shelter, it was a tool for social engineering. HDB flats were built quickly and affordably, and mandatory ethnic quotas were introduced in each neighborhood to force racial integration and prevent communal ghettos. Quote Lee Kuan Yew, "If you don't keep a society together, the whole will fragment." Today, over 80% of Singaporeans own their HDB flat.
While many developing nations focused on self-sufficiency, Lee did the opposite. He opened the gates to the world. He positioned Singapore as the hyper-efficient, non-corrupt gateway to Asia. He relentlessly courted multinational corporations, MNCs, offering low taxes and a stable English-speaking workforce. He didn't just wait for them, he sent government officials to cold call CEOs worldwide. He became a master diplomat, balancing the interests of superpowers like the US and China, ensuring Singapore was essential to global trade and finance, a neutral hub you couldn't afford to ignore.
This success came at a price: strict control. Lee Kuan Yew famously called Singapore the nanny state. He believed that a population emerging from chaos needed discipline instilled from the top down. Control on freedom. Press freedom was restricted, political opposition was often challenged through defamation lawsuits, and public assembly was tightly controlled. The logic was always the same: stability and progress were non-negotiable. Social discipline. From mandatory military service to harsh fines for petty offenses like littering or chewing gum, which is banned, life in Singapore is hyper-regulated. This level of social control has created one of the safest, most orderly societies on Earth. The enduring paradox. Singapore is an economic giant built on free market principles, but its political system is an illiberal democracy defined by Lee Kuan Yew's iron will. So as we look at the gleaming reality of modern Singapore, its prosperity, its safety, its sheer competence, we have to ask, is this the blueprint for the developing world? Lee Kuan Yew proved that a nation can go from zero to first world in a single generation, but his model rests on a fundamental trade-off: stability and wealth in exchange for political freedom. In a world where democracy seems messy and slow, Singapore offers a tempting, efficient alternative. But is a clean, wealthy cage truly better than a messy, democratic struggle? I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think Lee Kuan Yew's authoritarian approach was necessary for Singapore's success? Or was it a tragedy for individual liberty? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this deep dive valuable, hit the like button. And if you want more uncompromising analysis of history and global power, be sure to subscribe and ring that bell. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.